Severe storms expected all across the state.
We always tend to have a few people that didn't get the alert.
How students can stay safe while facing the eye of the storm.
And just days after a tornado hits Arkansas, residents brace for more storms.
It's gonna feel worse because we don't have roofs on our houses. We don't have the food and shelter that we need.
How Arkansans plan for more tragedy.
And although the tornado hit our state's capital on Friday, it's going to have a long-lasting impact for students that call Little Rock home. I'll tell you what those students said and much more, but for now, UATV starts.
Hello and welcome to this Tuesday night edition of UATV. I'm Jenna Swope.
And I'm Jalen Jordan. Thanks for joining us. Severe weather potential in northwest Arkansas increased earlier this afternoon and will continue into the overnight hours. We are now going to send it over to Joshua Weisel, who will give us more insight on what to expect tonight. Joshua, what can you tell us about the storm?
All right, well, we haven't had a whole lot of activity. We saw some rain here earlier. This was this activity that you see right here that was moving into northwest Arkansas. We have some cloud coverage now, but the activity is going to pick up later tonight. But here's a look at the overall storm chances that we're watching over the next little bit. This is an area that the Storm Prediction Center highlighted earlier for the potential for a type of weather watch. Now, it's really unpredictable if we're going to see this watch at all just because the storms haven't really gotten severe. I'll show you why those storms haven't strengthened here in just a little bit. But for now, make sure that you stay tuned to the forecast and make sure that you know severe weather is going to be possible as we head into the overnight hours tonight. And we could have two rounds. The first round could be some isolated supercells through at least midnight, slightly after, and then widespread coverage with a line of storms that form overnight into early tomorrow morning. Stay tuned. I have the full extended forecast and a look at those storm chances here in just a little bit.
Thanks, Joshua. With the possibility for severe weather tonight, campus officials want to keep students as safe as possible. They say prepare ahead of time and be aware of your surroundings. In the case of a tornado, find a safe location that's inside and away from windows and doors. University officials say students will receive severe weather updates from the RAS alert system.
Those are the key areas that need to have updated contact information, whether it be your phone or your email, so you can get those weather alerts every day when we do send them out. We always tend to have a few people that didn't get the alerts, depending on what their what their settings are.
Students are also encouraged to download the Safe Zone app and keep tabs on local weather sources for up-to-date information.
The National Weather Service confirmed damage from an EF3 tornado in Little Rock on Friday. The offices in North Little Rock expect another storm to hit the state today. The winds from the tornado Friday reached up to 165 miles per hour. The path ran about 30 miles. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders declared a state of emergency on Friday, triggering access to statewide assistance, including the National Guard. The state of emergency is still in action.
The tornado impacted many people on campus, but in a different way than slicing through their homes. Many students who attend the U of A are originally from the hardest hit areas. UATV's Patrick Hall joins us live with more.
That's right, Jenna. As you can see right here behind me, we haven't really hit that severe weather yet this evening, but as students start to prepare for that, they have the tornado that hit Little Rock on Friday on the forefront of their minds. After the disastrous tornado struck our state's capital Friday, it has had a long-lasting impact on multiple people.
We've been there for about 24 years now, and so it's just devastating to see like the community in a town that you lived in like your whole life like just destroyed.
While most students had to check in on their families from Fayetteville, one student was there with his family during the storm.
The next thing you know, we're like piled down at my house. Things are way more serious than you think, and service is out, power is out. We don't know who's okay, who's alive, honestly. Like, it was serious, got serious quick, and then we just kind of waited for it to go through, and luckily we stayed.
Although it may have torn down the communities of some small towns, one student says a serious tornado like this one can help build the community even closer together.
We were a community before even the tornado, but after the tornado happened, like, we're stronger than ever, and everybody's like hopping on to anything as much as they can.
Now, students are still being advised by the university to stay here in Fayetteville because of the incoming weather tonight and because of the road closures in Little Rock. But I've spoken with quite a few of the students from Little Rock on this campus, and they've all told me that they plan on going home this weekend to spend time with their family and clean up their home. Reporting live for UATV, I'm Patrick Hall.
Thanks, Patrick. The University of Arkansas is offering support and assistance to its students who have been affected by the tornado. Students who need help can contact the Pat Walker Health Center to reach the university's emergency services. Counselors are also available to provide support and guidance to those who need it.
The cleanup process continues in Little Rock to help pick up the pieces after that devastating tornado tore apart businesses and homes. Community members say they plan to do everything they can to help. UATV's LaKyra Banks was in Little Rock this weekend and has more on the story.
A 32-mile tornado tearing through cities spanning from Little Rock.
We have several homes that just don't exist anymore.
To Jacksonville.
It's not just trees falling on your roof damage, it's roofs are gone, it's people don't have cribs anymore, clothes anymore, diapers, every bare essential that you can think of.
Leaving homes and businesses unrecognizable.
They're sitting in the rubble trying to assess everything right now.
In the middle of an uprooted community, neighbors and city officials come together to help one another and offer some relief.
This is our community. It's going to be rebuilt, and we're going to be reshaped as a result of it.
The amount of outreach and support is overwhelming resource centers.
Could not find a place to volunteer today. Everybody was full. The first place that I went said that they didn't need any more volunteers, so I came here and they were full, but they could still use me.
In Little Rock Community Centers, FEMA, and the National Guard all join forces to help.
The bottom line is that all of this is trying to serve the city in the most effective way possible.
Across the river in Jacksonville, community members are doing whatever they can to help.
But hopefully we can help them to just have a little bit of sunshine on this cloudy day.
Despite bracing for tomorrow's storm,
Even if it's not as bad as it was this weekend, it's gonna feel worse because we don't have roofs on our houses. We don't have the food and shelter that we need.
neighbors continue to look out for one another.
Sure, your neighbors who don't have power know that the storm is coming, because if they haven't seen it on social media, they don't know. They don't have the news. I mean, we've got to work together as a family.
Community members say they plan to continue to provide relief and resources to those who are impacted for as long as it takes. Hashtags like Little Rock Endure and AR Strong are being used to connect those impacted to the resources they need.
The Red Cross continues to help residents pick up the pieces in the Little Rock area. Over the weekend, Calvary Baptist Church provided an overnight shelter for those who lost their homes during the storm. It will take months for the area to fully recover from the storm, and Red Cross Communications Manager John Brimley says the Red Cross just wants to help.
You know, as an organization, our mission is really, we're out here just trying to alleviate human suffering as best as we can. And again, our first step was to open the shelter.
The Red Cross will continue to provide resources for those in need in the areas affected.
It's a weather alert night across northwest Arkansas. I'll show you why those storms haven't been severe so far, as well as what we could expect.
And Fayetteville's Farmers Market is celebrating 50 years on the square. Coming up next on UATV.
Here's a look at that system that's bringing us that severe weather potential. And as you can see, this whole dip in the jet stream that you see all the way from Seattle to Winnipeg, that's this trough that's moving through, and that's what's going to bring us our severe weather potential. Now, we have had showers and storms, but they haven't been severe, so why is that? Well, we have this thing called a cap, and if you're from North Texas, I know that many of us have heard this before. It is a layer of warm, stable air that prevents warm, unstable air at the surface from mixing with cold, stable air aloft. And when you get those two cold and warm airs mixing, it leads to explosive storm development. In fact, here's a little graph just to show you real quick what that looks like. The warm, unstable air, it meets the warm, stable air. And if you know anything from high school science, once warm air meets equally warm air, it stops rising. So that's what the lid is, but it's weak. So that could lead to storm development. In fact, here's a look at the energy that storms are going to be feeding off of. This is what we call CAPE. It's what the energy that feeds storms is. And typically, for a regular setup, you need between 900 and 1,000. And we are working well within a threshold of almost double that. We're talking 2,000 to 3,000 CAPE values is what these storms are going to have to deal with. So any severe weather that we see could be significant later on. So here's a look at what we have for the risk from the Storm Prediction Center, and I'll show you. We have a moderate risk that basically splits Fayetteville across the area, and this is for the potential for all types of severe weather. We're talking 70 to 80 mile per hour winds, strong to potentially, and I hate to say it, violent tornadoes are possible, and then hail up to 2 to 3 inches in diameter. So, and here's a look at that tornado potential with this as well. Notice the 30% shaded area. That does include portions of the area. We even have what they call a significant hashed area, and that is for the potential for strong EF2 plus tornadoes. So that's what we're watching there with the tornado risk. So here's a look at what we have planned with the Futurecast radar. Notice all these supercells. The models have been pretty consistent, and this is what we're going to have to be watching for later on this evening. Then once again, another round potentially overnight into early tomorrow morning. So stay weather alert. Stay tuned for the full extended forecast in just a little bit.
The local farmers market's official season has just begun. They celebrated their 50th opening day anniversary last Saturday.
UATV's Kate Balzer joins us live with more.
The farmers market has come a long way since 1971. Take a look. Locals and tourists crowded the streets of downtown Fayetteville to celebrate the farmers market's spring opening. Vendors spend every Saturday morning here from the beginning of April to the end of November to grow their business as well as the community.
Waking up early and seeing how many people show up and they put in all their efforts to be able to bring quality to the community is what fills my cup and which helps me to fill cups to give to other people.
The farmers market has grown to host over 70 Northwest Arkansas vendors, providing fresh foods, art, plants, and more. The weekly event generates about $1.6 million annually, and every dollar spent at the market adds about 60 cents to the Fayetteville economy. Although the market is held on select weekends throughout the off-season, many sellers look forward to the more popular spring season.
It's my livelihood. I mean, that's where I'm selling my products. It's also just a really wonderful community gathering place. I've met so many wonderful people here.
Judy Cavan has been coming to the farmers market to sell plants for over 21 years. Although she primarily goes to the market to grow her business, she says that over the years, she has had the pleasure of watching the market community grow as well.
It's been great seeing different generations grow up. I mean, I'm seeing now, people that I know, their kids coming here, and so it's exciting. It's a wonderful place to be.
Rain or shine, you can support local businesses here on the square every weekend. Reporting for UATV, I'm Kate Balzer.
Thanks, Kate. The farmers market is open every Saturday from 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m.
See how a group of women on campus reflect on their heritage. Coming up next on UATV.
A specific group of women were invited to a panel to close out National Women's History Month.
They were able to tell their stories and why they are proud of their gender and heritage. UATV's Shelby Mills is live with the story.
Latinas were able to tell their story through answering 2 questions. See what those questions were and how they were told. 4 Latina women were invited to a panel hosted by the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Before speaking, they were asked to prepare responses to these questions. Why are they proud Latinas, and what makes them strong Latinas? Associate Dean for Research and Learning in the University Libraries, Adriana Gonzalez, says she felt honored to speak at the panel. The other panelists had similar responses. They told stories of watching how hard their mothers worked when they were children and how inspiring it has been in their lives. Gonzalez's mother attended the panel to celebrate her daughter. The panel took place in the World Languages and Digital Humanities studio on Friday at noon. Although Women's History Month has come to a close, it is always a good time to celebrate strong women around you. For UATV, I'm Shelby Mills.
For more events that celebrate diversity on our campus, contact the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
What's been the key to the Diamond Hogs' recent success? How one player keeps the Razorbacks rolling off the mound. And now that basketball season has come to a close, what's the next step for Ricky Council? I've got all that and more on UATV Sports.
All right, here's a look at the 7-day forecast. Of course, weather alert day for today, tonight, into early tomorrow morning. And then take a look. It's going to be a beautiful rest of the week for your Easter weekend. We're going to warm back up into the 70s. But like I said, make sure that you stay weather alert. Here's some ways to stay weather alert. Have multiple ways to receive alerts. That's either text, apps, no weather radio, those built-in notifications on your phone that many of us turn off. Have those on because we have a nocturnal storm risk. And then, of course, check where you can shelter at your apartment, home, wherever that you're residing tonight. That's a look at what we have for this forecast. Remember, stay weather alert, have multiple ways to receive warnings.
And that's all the time we have for UATV News. Be sure to follow us on social media at UATV News. I'm Jenna Swope.
And I'm Jalen Jordan. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to stay safe tonight.